Joining me now is Cornell William Brooks, professor of the practice of public leadership and social justice at Harvard Kennedy School. He's also the former president and CEO of the NAACP, and he's a civil rights attorney as well. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let me start with Trump has moved to strip Harvard of more than $2 billion in federal grants, threatened to redirect $3 billion in research funding to vocational schools, and sent a letter to federal agencies instructing them to review the approximately $100 million in contracts the government has awarded Harvard and find alternative vendors where possible. That was just this week. Why has Trump targeted Harvard so heavily?
So we need to be very clear here and not be distracted by Ivy, prestige, or even the size of Harvard's endowment. This is really an effort to divide and conquer Americans. So in other words, in the wake of the war in Gaza, there were instances of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia on Harvard's campus. Harvard commissioned a set of reports, a set of recommendations, and a set of actions. In the wake of that, the Trump administration has targeted Harvard and talked about anything but anti-Semitism. And here's what I mean. They have launched this ban against international students from Israel as well as Gaza, from France as well as Switzerland. They threatened Harvard's tax-exempt status. They have attempted to micromanage Harvard's governance. And to be clear, this week, according to news reports, the Trump administration has been looking for a named school, an Ivy League school, to cut a deal with so that they could focus on DEI and efforts to limit the participation of Black and brown students. The point being here is they're not focused on anti-Semitism. What they're focused on is a kind of anti-Americanism, which is to say a nation of many people from many places around the world who come to this country to study and who participate in this democracy. So we have to be very clear here. This is a divide and conquer strategy.
Now, international students comprise more than a quarter of Harvard's student body, but it isn't just Harvard that relies heavily on international students. All American universities do, because they often pay far more in tuition than the American classmates. So why is Trump targeting this population?
So he's operating under the mistaken assumption that you can erect borders around American companies, as in these tariff wars, and borders around American college campuses, as in a kind of idea tariff war, so to speak. Here's my point. Harvard is one out of every 4 students as an international student. But think about this. It was international students and money from abroad that literally kept state universities in business in the wake of the COVID crisis. So because our universities all across the country are so outstanding, we have people coming from around the world to study here in this country, to subsidize, to support, to enable American-born students to study in colleges and universities. And this is true from the community college level, state universities, research universities, private universities, and the Ivy League. So we have to be very clear. Again, this is divide and conquer, but it's also a strategy of dividing and diminishing American competitiveness and the American economy.
Now, Trump is already facing a backlash for his move against foreign students. Even some of his big money supporters rely on talent from overseas. But even if he decides to backtrack on this policy, hasn't he already made America a less attractive place for the best and the brightest from around the world to come study because of the way he's handling things right now?
Your question contains a brilliant answer, and the answer is absolutely yes. How so? In other words, by making international students call into question whether or not they can study, whether they can matriculate and graduate from American institutions, it makes American colleges and universities less competitive in a global marketplace for top researchers, scholars. And let's be clear, we're talking about people who start companies that employ Americans, initiate research that protect Americans and that heal Americans. We're talking about people who literally contribute to this country, some of whom become citizens in this country. The other part of this is that by launching this war against colleges and universities, we as a country are hurt reputationally, literally around the globe. So in other words, despite the fact that we have a federal judge who's issued a temporary restraining order in terms of this international student ban, he's already done damage, and the damage continues, which is to say you may see fewer students register in the fall who are paying less tuition, less room and board, which makes it harder for us to support American students.
Let's step back and look at the big picture. You and I have been active in the civil rights movement for many years. You, when you were president and CEO of NAACP, worked with me at National Action Network. I remember you preached one Saturday morning at our rally. We know the academic community has played a critical role in moving our society forward, both students and faculty. How much of this current MAGA assault on higher education goes all the way back to the 1960s? Are we still locked in the same struggle?
We're very much locked in the same struggle. In fact, these struggles are united. As you well know, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 ended discrimination, at least on paper, in this country. The Immigration Act of 1965, which was predicated on the Civil Rights Act of 1964, ended discrimination in immigration, lifting the caps on the number of people who could come from Africa, could come from Latin America and Asia and other parts of the world. So in other words, civil rights and human rights are linked together. So when you decline to really address anti-Semitism, stoke Islamophobia, target Black and brown students, target DEI, target affirmative action, all of that in an unconstitutional, unlawful manner, here's what happens. You divide the country, you make the country less competitive, you pit people against one another, and it is ultimately harmful to the republic. So the point being here is you and I have been in this work a long time, and we know this. Unless people stand together, they will be victimized together.
Now, before I let you go, I've been thinking of the last weekend and the 5th year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. I was in Houston speaking and joining his family at his gravesite. The administration has targeted institutions like college campuses, libraries, and schools where the story of Black America is being written every day. They've suggested there's something less American or unpatriotic about our perspectives. How can all of us push back and keep them from controlling the narrative?
Well, first of all, this is a brilliant question. We have to be clear here. The protests that we saw in the wake of George Floyd's murder, 26 million Americans taken to the streets across 550 jurisdictions, represents a protest story as powerful as the Boston Tea Party. So in order for us in this moment to take charge of the narrative, we need to be clear that history is tied to protest. Protest is tied to democracy. One. Point two, we need to be very clear. Our movements have to be coordinated, have to be united. We have to resist the forces of fractionalization and division in this moment. Three, we have to take to the courts, but not leave it to the lawyers to save democracy. We have to save democracy in the streets. And fifth, our journalists who, like you, who are journalists and activists, our journalists have to be the storytellers of democracy. And lastly, and I say this as a fourth generation ordained minister, our rabbis, our imams, our priests, our ministers, people of faith and voices of conscience have to speak out in this moment and use every tool available. Why? Because we're not merely facing racism and xenophobia, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. We are literally facing a threat to democracy as we know it, an existential threat.
Yeah.